You weren't.
We will call to order the Kern Council of Governments Transportation Planning Policy Committee, Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ione.
Present.
Calderon. Couch. Espinoza.
Here.
Gunn. Gorman.
Present.
Hawkins.
Here.
Morse. Knorr. Parlier. Para. Reyna. Bob Smith.
I'm here.
Phil Smith.
Here.
Salario Ruiz. Warney.
Here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public comments. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the committee on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the committee. Committee members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the committee at a later meeting. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record prior to making a presentation. Are there any public comments? Any online public? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda opportunity for public comment. Same comments. Are there any public comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, does any member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ione.
Aye.
Calderon.
Aye.
Espinoza.
Yes.
Gunn. Gorman.
Aye.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Para.
Yes.
Bob Smith.
Yes.
Phil Smith.
Yes.
And Warney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing, unmet transit needs in Kern County. Enriquez.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is Kern Council of Governments annual public hearing on unmet transit needs. Before allocating Transportation Development Act funds to non-transit uses, Kern COG must identify unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet per California Code, Public Utilities Code 99401.5. Public input was gathered through newspaper ads and 12 public hearings in the cities, rural communities, and by Golden Empire Transit. GET held their public meeting on February 18th, 2025, with a finding of no unmet transit needs deemed reasonable to meet. Kern Transit and the rural transit operators held meetings between the months of January and May 2025 and also found no unmet transit needs that were reasonable to meet. On August 16th, 2025, the Social Services Technical Advisory Committee reviewed a countywide analysis of unmet transit needs and provided by Kern COG staff. The SS TAG determined that there are no unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet within Kern County. This public hearing is for the fiscal year 25-26 unmet transit needs assessment and determination, at which time Kern COG should decide through resolution one of the following. 1, there are no unmet transit needs. 2, there are no unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet. Or 3, there are no unmet transit needs, including those that are reasonable to meet. At this time, I ask Mr. Chairman to please open the public hearing, receive comments, and close the public hearing.
Thank you. I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Okay. Staff and the members of the SS TAC recommend a finding that there are no unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet within Kern County, and that and authorize the chair to sign Resolution 2520.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
My motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Warney,
Aye.
Phil Smith,
Yes.
Bob Smith,
Yes.
Para,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Gunn, Espinoza,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
and Ione.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to Caltrans report. And I see District 9 on the screen. We'll go there first in case we lose connection.
Great, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I apologize, I couldn't be in attendance. We had a last minute switch up, so maybe next month Jill or I will make it down. I do have a few announcements. So Ryan Dermody has been appointed as the acting Chief Deputy Director effective September 6th, following the retirement of Chief Deputy Director Michael Keever. Brandon Fitt has been appointed to acting District Director 9, or District 9 Director, I'm sorry. For project updates, Cache Creek pavement, the draft environmental document will begin its 30-day public review starting October 11th. For Keene pavement, we're on schedule. 95% is anticipated this calendar year. Right away have began their first written offers and they've started to go out. Jeremy Milos is the project manager on this on Keene, and he is working on the staging update presentation. For 58 slab replacement, this contract was accepted on September 10th. Cal City CMS replacement, the minor B contract was accepted on September 10th as well. District School Beacons Replacement Project. This is a maintenance project updating the wiring and highway school beacons throughout the district, including in Kern. The project is anticipated to begin in early October and conclude within the month. The start will be dependent on the arrival of the materials. Phil, we heard you loud and clear, and Mill Street Bridge project will, we put it in our 26-27 HM safety program. We're going to be updating the bridge railing and stripes for bike lane. So I'm really excited about that one. Wrong way driver markings. This is a maintenance project that is replacing and restoring wrong way driver markings on State Route 58 in Kern County from just west of State Route 202 to the San Bernardino County line. Work on this project is expected to begin in early October and conclude before the end of the year. Mojave pavement, we're working with the railroad. It's expected to RTL November 2026 and begin construction 2027. It's on schedule and progressing through design. 178 Inyo Kern pavement, that one is also on schedule and progressing through design. It's anticipated to RTL July of 2026 and construct 2027. Ongoing traffic impacts. We have Kern River Valley utility work on State Route 178 west from Kelso Creek Road to Scotty Park Road near Weldon. Utility crews continue to replace poles Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be one-way traffic control and drivers may experience 10-minute delays. And that's it for District 9. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for District 9?
Could
Mr.
you
Smith?
expand on that project you said on that 202 and 58?
Yes, that's the wrong way driver markings. It's a maintenance project and they're just going to be restoring and replacing the driver markings on 58. It is a minor project, so it's not going to be much. I know they're going to be redoing the markings on the road, and then I believe the signs as well.
All right. And then you had a comment on right-of-way on the Keene project?
Yes, they have began their first written offers and they began to send them out, or they've sent them out.
All right. Thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments for District 9? Seeing none, thank you. District 6, Shane.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. A few miscellaneous announcements. The second edition release of the TAF and the TAC, which is the Transportation Analysis Framework, and the Transportation Analysis under CEQA has been released by Caltrans. It's available on the Caltrans SB 743 website. Public comments are open until October 10th on the revised Caltrans System Investment Strategy, also known as CSIS, which is a component of the Climate Action Plan Infrastructure Alignment Metric, also known as CAPTI. The revised CAPTI alignment metrics is the companion document to the CSIS, which is the main policy document. Remember that CSIS applies to all state and federal discretionary grant programs that make funding available for multimodal transportation infrastructure projects. Excuse me. Federal Highways announced their California number 2, the acting deputy division administrator. Her name is Bridget Mandel. And on September 8th, CalSTA announced an open call for applicants to serve on the Interagency Equity Advisory Committee. Members of the Equity Advisory Committee will review, advise, and make recommendations on transportation-related plans, programs, and policies to CalSTA, Caltrans, and the CTC. Committee members are going to serve 2-year terms. There's 3 vacancies coming up for the years 2026 through 2028. If you're interested, visit the CTC Interagency Equity Advisory Committee webpage. I think everybody here is already aware, at least everybody's familiar with Kern Canyon. 178 is closed through the end of this week for emergency power line repairs through the Kern Canyon. As mentioned at the last meeting, we're going to be launching our yearly cycle for the Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program. With that, we're going to be hosting a guidelines workshop. It's going to be a virtual workshop on September 29th. And for the first time, we're also going to be holding virtual office hours. So you should have already received an invitation for that, as well as for the virtual office hours. If you're interested in doing a one-on-one, we're more than happy to do that. Please just reach out to me. And moving on to project updates. We do have an emergency project that construction is going to begin in late October or early November. It's just over here on 204, the bridge that goes over just north of the Kern River. I think it's an irrigation canal, just north of the Kern River. Somebody hit the barrier, and so it'll be reduced to 1-lane traffic control while we replace the barrier. Again, that's going to be late October, early November. Something everybody's anxiously awaiting, the 99 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan. We sent that out for stakeholder and partner review on the draft. Comments on that closed last week on the 12th. We are on track to deliver the final CMCP by the end of October. Some project updates. The Wasco 46 pedestrian beacon, this is at 46 and Poplar. The permit was issued on July 21st. The city's noted that bid opening is scheduled actually for today, with construction anticipated to start in about a month and a half, so at the end of October. The Wasco 43 pedestrian beacon at 8th Street, the permit was granted and issued on May 14th. Not sure when that's going to construction. We'll have to check in with the city on that. State Route 46 and 43 intersection improvements, no change since the last update. Utility relocations began this summer, and construction is still anticipated early of next year. The Bakersfield Freeway Connector, this is the 5899 interchange. No updates since the last one. We're still in the punch list phase of construction. So construction's complete. We're just making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. The Delano 155 rehab project. Project achieved design completion on August 22nd. We're anticipating construction to start in the spring of 2026. The 43 and 7th Standard Road roundabout. Consultant provided the response to our 95% comments just on the 10th of this month. Still anticipating advertising that spring of 2026, with construction beginning late summer, early fall of next year. Santa Fe roundabout, this is the one at Shafter at Santa Fe and Los Angeles Avenues. Target design completion for that one is October of this year. The project does require permits from the Federal Bureau of Reclamation, so we're anticipating a delay in construction until March of 2027. California Aqueduct Bridge Rehab, this is on 166. 166 is going to be closed starting next week on Monday on the 22nd. A detour will be in place for about 75 days to complete the majority of the rehabilitation activities. We're expecting construction completion by the summer of 2026. It's a fairly significant detour as well. There should have been a notice sent. That is all of my updates. Do I have any questions? That's a lot.
Thank you, District 6. Any questions?
I got off easy today. Thank you.
Easy. Thank you. Executive Director's Report.
Very good. Good evening, everyone. I've got a few items for you. I've been busy the last couple of months. First item to talk to you about off my list is I did go both to District 6 and District 9, representing the Kern Council of Governments, to spend a little time with those folks and received a very warm welcome from both agencies. And I thought it was interesting and notable that Lexi had just mentioned it, but Ryan Dermody, who leads District 9, was just placed in an interim position for Chief Deputy Director, which makes him number 2 at Caltrans. So that's a pretty sizable step for him. We know Brandon Fitt very well, who is now going to be the interim Director of District 9. In fact, I sat with him at the last CTC meeting, and so be giving Ryan a call. I only found out here just a few days ago myself to congratulate him and then make sure he remembers East Kern in his time up there, or maybe all of Kern now that he's got a role to play in more than just District 9. So he fills very big shoes at Caltrans. I think there's universal appreciation. The gentleman that just retired, Mike Keever. Thank you, guys. There's a million names, so forgive me. Very well respected at Caltrans, and basically a COO level position for Caltrans. The guy who kept the wheels on the bus and kept it moving, and by all reports did an amazing job over that tenure. So Ryan's got a job before him, and so we're going to wish him well and support him, and so that's big news for us too because of the relationships we have with him. On the 99 and 58 standpoint, we continue to move forward on the project. Of course, the 7th movement is under construction, and the 8th movement, we are working through a lot of the right-of-way details and the timing details for that project. I continue to keep it closely monitored, working with Parsons and the city of Bakersfield, and we have, I think the latest news that I have to offer is that the city of Bakersfield has agreed to start looking at the northbound auxiliary lane as an additional component. So that the addition of a northbound auxiliary lane on Highway 99 between the 58, so the westbound 58, we take this route all the time, northbound 99. You then merge to traffic, and then you hit California Avenue and get right back off. So we're considering whether we can add an auxiliary lane between those ramps in order to provide additional capacity as part of the larger set of the project. So that's the biggest addition. City of Bakersfield, we've been working the last few weeks to get that conceptual design moving and to figure out and work with our partners at District 6 to get that combined in the project, presuming we have the funds to do so. So a lot of moving pieces there, but excited at the potential additional safety improvement to go along with the rest of the project in that area. So I'll keep you guys apprised of that item. Briefly, Shane already gave you a report on the 7th Standard and 43 roundabout. Also keeping close attention on that project, knowing the big items was working through power pole relocation in that area. But again, the partnership that has been created between Shafter, City of Bakersfield, and County of Kern, each of whom threw a significant amount of money into the pot to keep that project moving. And CMAQ providing some of the additional funds is hopefully a model for how to get some of these more regionally significant projects done. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that one as well. Truck climbing lanes, you received a report on the first phase, which is the funded phase already, and we're beginning to set our eyes now on this is going to make it really confusing. So we're going to have to figure out whether to call it A or B or something. But phase 2 would be segment 1 under the original report. So there. When truck climbing lanes were first envisioned a few years ago by District 9 on Highway 58, they looked at 3 segments, 3 places on 58 there on the hill to add truck climbing lanes. Only the middle segment is funded. That's phase 1. So we're looking at phase 2, which is the segment that begins right around Murray Family Farms, if you know that route, and gets you close to the 223. So trying to work through getting that one programmed and moving forward. That's a major item on my plate as well. Lastly, I'd report, or not lastly, but next, the Cal City Boulevard Highway 58 safety project. After the COG report, I'll give you guys an update on the Valley Voice trip, and maybe Mayor Ione would like to do the same as well. But we had, I think, a wonderful opportunity in front of the Department of Transportation. We have about a $4 million grant application in there to help get us over the line and fund that project completely. Had an opportunity to pitch that. Felt like that went really well. So we're supposed to know in October, November. In the meantime, there's enough funds on the project for us to continue to move forward, keeping the design moving and working with our partners out there to get that project moving. So that one is also top of the list. Lastly, here on TPPC, I wanted to give you a brief update on high-speed rail, because I know everyone's favorite topic. But there's been relatively important news just in the last couple of weeks. And so obviously the federal government has withdrawn the $4 billion and now has also withdrawn an additional $150 million from a series of associated projects, thankfully none of them in Kern, from the high-speed rail project. But those affect a few of our partners in the Valley Voice program up north of us in the Central Valley. So keeping an eye on that. In the meantime, though, there was a huge push in the Cap and Trade, or Cap and Invest, it's now been rebranded, program from High Speed Rail and their allies to get effectively a minimum amount of money out of that program for the next 20 years. And they look close to achieving that goal. So they have rebranded the program. And they have retooled it, and the finances escape me, so don't press me too hard on this. But a big part of it was the program was set to lapse, and there had not been a continuance of the program until very recently, and that was apparently causing some weakness in the market. Folks were not sure they wanted to continue investing on the off chance that the whole program was going to fall apart. So the legislature has moved hard to re-up the program, I believe through 2045, maybe later. But in that program, the legislature has proposed and passed AB 1207 and SB 840. They're effectively identical. They're now on the governor's desk. To re-up the program and then to provide a minimum of $1 billion a year for the next 20 years for high-speed rail. And so if that receives the governor's signature, high-speed rail is telling everyone that secures for them a strong future to deliver at least the Central Valley component of the high-speed rail. They're still looking for private partnership, and that's kind of a big question as to whether they can actually pull in private investors. And they're also not quite sure exactly what segment comes first. But in each of the iterations, Bakersfield is in each of the major first iterations. And then, of course, Bakersfield and then the communities that run north from there to the county line. Here in Kern. So we'll see. I know Merced is on the chopping block now, and then whether the train goes to Gilroy or not is kind of up in the air. So they're still moving through some of the pieces, but it is notable to point out that these two bills are on the governor's desks, and if he signs them, it does provide a meaningful quantity of money that's somewhat reliable for these folks. Because it doesn't. If I don't know if you saw the latest news, the whole project is now slated to be $120 billion, which is 4 times what the original taxpayer was told it was going to take. And the additional $20 billion here would get them to about $45 billion, somewhere in there, for a total amount of money secured and spent on the project. So that's only a third of the money they need to truly do the project. But it's one of the things that has plagued high-speed rail is they're not spending the money fast enough. They have a couple billion in the bank. They're not actually constructing things fast enough and expending the money. So that's something that I know the current administration running high-speed rail is very focused on, is trying to change that narrative and actually, put shovels in the ground and move it forward. So that is my update on high-speed rail, and I think that concludes my TPPC update.
Thank you. And I appreciate the work on the 7th and 8th movements in Bakersfield. I look forward to putting the bow on Mr. Thomas's great gift to
We all are.
Bakersfield and Kern County.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions for the director? Seeing none, we will adjourn that meeting and move to the Kern Council of Governments meeting. Roll call is the same. Public comments. Are there any public comments for Kern COG? Seeing none. Consent agenda opportunity for public comment. Any public comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, does any member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ione.
Aye.
Calderon.
Yes.
Espinoza.
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Bob Smith.
Yes.
Phil Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, board meeting invocation. Following a request from board member Ione, this item seeks to consider the addition of an invocation to the Kern Council of Governments agenda on a recurring basis. Should the board wish to add an invocation to the agenda moving forward, staff recommends the addition of a moment of silence, prayer, or reflection be added to the agenda following roll call. Under this approach, staff will not be coordinating a formal invocation. Open for discussion.
So the recommendation is after the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence? Is that it?
The recommendation is yes. If the board wishes to move forward with an invocation, then that would be the type of invocation.
Okay. And that's typical, right? I mean, I know that in our city we practice that. We have a moment of silence. Is that?
Yeah, I think that for further discussion, it's you guys have a choice to make
Yeah.
on the subject. And I know a lot of different cities
different.
and the county do different things. This is one avenue of approach. Some agencies don't have any type of moment of that nature. Some will do a moment of silence or private invocation. Others will coordinate having a pastor present. I think that the context here is Mr. Van Wyck from County Council provided some advice in the meeting in July about being cautious about creating a situation where you are either implying an obligation to participate in a prayer, which would not be legal, or putting yourself in a position where you will have to participate where you'll have to permit somebody to offer a prayer that may run counter to what the board is trying to achieve. So staff took a look at this issue, and if you guys wish to add something to the agenda, this is the suggestion that we'd offer. So,
Thank you. Ms. Para.
I think I would, so I think I am for doing the private moment of silence. I think my relationship with my higher being, my religion, I think is very personal to me. I was taught, you don't go around beating your chest and saying, hi, I'm this, but I praise Jesus, in good and bad, trials and tribulations and in blessings seen and unseen. I think, and on top of that, I don't think it should be a formal having to come somebody and give the invocation every month. I think that's something else that we would have to put on Becky or somebody to bring somebody in every month to do that. And so I think just a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance, I think that would allow us all to praise however we would like to. So that's my 2 cents.
Any other comments?
Chair, Mayor, I respect everybody's opinion on this. I mean, I still want to move forward with having a prayer, moment of silence. It all works for me. I think it brings, it lowers the temperature a little bit depending if we're having some discussion, but everybody comes from different backgrounds. I just feel that we don't have to have a pastor, a priest, or any of us could lead in invocation or in prayer, but that's my opinion. But I'm good with however the board wants to go.
Any other comments?
Chairman,
Yes.
I like the idea of the invocation. I understand it can open other doorways and stuff like that, but I'm in favor of invocation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Well, I will just say thank you to staff. Thank you for bringing this forward as, I know that one of the issues was potential liability and opening us up to potential liabilities. And so a moment of silence allows for everyone, as my colleague has just stated, to be able to, in that moment, have your private prayer connection with your spiritual being, your God. And so just thank you very much, staff, for bringing this recommendation forward, and I agree with the recommendation.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to also add that I think some form of reflection or a moment of silence would be appropriate in this manner. I think it is leading by example, but it also is something that I think all of us could at least agree on, that however you worship or not, you at least have a moment where you can, think about some things and put some positive energy in the air. So I would go for a moment of silence.
Thank you. Well, I think I've heard from the majority, so I will make the motion for staff recommendation of a moment of silence.
I second.
Part of the agenda. Roll call vote.
Phil Smith,
Yes.
Bob Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
and Ione.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Executive Director's Report.
Very good. Thank you all. So first item here under the COG agenda is our recent Valley Voice trip to Washington, D.C. from a couple of weeks ago. So myself and Mayor Ione had a chance to go and spend some time with our elected officials. So I didn't ask you this ahead of time, Mayor, but if there's anything you'd like to say, maybe I'll defer to you first and then fill in the gaps. What were your thoughts on the trip and what stood out?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank Kern COG and Jay for actually being selected to go to this conference in Washington. It was good. It was a good trip. regardless of the party affiliations, it was a good trip between, elected officials from the whole Central Valley that were with that, regardless of our political differences, we were able to come together and just try to bring some funding for transportation infrastructure back to the valley. And it was a great experience. We were extremely busy. But I just want to add, I want to take a moment to recognize Jay. It was his first time there. He was very involved. I mean, super involved. He was calling, texting me Sunday morning, like, "Hey, you ready to go over this stuff?" And I'm like, "Hey, relax." I said, "I got the talking points. Believe me, I know how to talk." But no, he was the only director that spoke and actually had some very good questions for the Department of Transportation, their board. He filled in a lot of gaps and was fighting for funding for Kern County. And even though some of this money was taken away for the high-speed rail, he was like, "Hey, divert it to other projects we have here in Kern County." And he was very, I want to say, he sat at the table and he made his voice count. So it really represented us well. As a matter of fact, we had a dinner. I somehow ended up sitting next to our lobbyist, and she was like completely impressed. She was like, "Hey, Aaron was great, but Jay, I mean, that voice really sparked a conversation with different officials, elected officials, and even it had nothing to do with Kern County. Jay was still helping out, speaking for other counties, but it ended up being a good trip. We didn't come with a check in hand, but we came with some potential commitments back. So it was good. I thought I talked a lot, but Jay really delivered the message, and that's all I have to say about that trip. It was food was great, travel was great. Just, other than that, I was. If anybody ever goes to that trip, please take your tennies because my feet were killing me from all the walking. But anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a learning experience for me for sure. Thank you for the kind words. I'd say the same back. It is an interesting balance of the various. So if you guys, for a couple of the board members that are relatively new, you may not. This is the San Joaquin Valley Voice is the 8 COGs, basically councils of governments up and down that represent the 8 valley regions. And so this group has been standing for a long time. I stepped into it pretty new, not pretty new, completely new. And the group gets together and does policy level advocation, both at the state and the federal level, for things that we can all agree on here in the Central Valley that are Central Valley related. The chief item, always talking point, is Highway 99, because that's the one that affects so many of the communities up and down the Central Valley. Meeting our electeds, we did get some time with Valadeo, Fong, and Obernolte, or Obernolte's office. Unfortunately, he had to step out, but I did meet with his chief of staff and spoke to them a little bit about this California City Boulevard project in particular, and about the expected improvements at the base or the additional programs that are likely to lead to additional employment out there, and the importance. I spoke to Fong about that as well, the importance that has for our region. And the transportation-related issues that are adjacent to that. So, and it was a super eye-opening trip. We got to meet both of our senators as well. That's a little more formal. That meeting was. But I would highlight the same thing that Mayor Ione pointed out is our first meeting was with the Department of Transportation. And it was really interesting. There are a couple of long-term staff members there, but there's a lot of young special appointees, or so our lobbyists told us, that are being placed in these agencies to advance the administration's desires. In this case, what we were told was not problematic. What they talked about is their chief focus is on simplifying the process so that things like NEPA aren't holding up projects. Streamlining what has become sometimes an overly complex problem. There seems to be even kind of universal political appeal to that. We heard even from a couple of the Democrat representatives that we spoke to about how they are fully supportive of ways to simplify our ability to deliver these projects. So had a chance to speak to them and hear what their priorities are. I think that we made big progress on the air quality conformity issue, which I know is a pretty technical item that I think we briefly mentioned to you guys in the last meeting, but is pretty meaningful for the councils of governments and for Rob and his entire team. They're trying to get the RTP together, and the president's recent actions on air-related waivers for the state of California kind of disrupted the technical process. And I think what we heard from the electeds was that was unintentional. And so now everybody, CARB and EPA, are sort of scrambling to try to find a path. So we had a really great opportunity with each of these elected folks to deliver that message and received universal, I think that was a big one, is both Democrat and Republican universal support to fix the problem and keep us moving on getting our plans done. The reason that's important is a handful of our projects, if we don't fix it, stall due to a technicality. And there are some here in Kern that are on the chopping block. So we have until the end of next year to clear the problem up. And I'm happy to give you guys a more detailed report if you want to have your eyes bleed. That's, but it's important. And so we delivered that message. So it was a great trip. Jet lag's rough, but anyway, glad I did it. Thank you, Mayor, for coming. We appreciate you. The next item I have for you is we have a meeting scheduled with SCAG, Southern California Association of Governments, October 3rd at 11 o'clock, and I need a couple of volunteers to join us. So from time to time, it supposedly is annually. It doesn't always land annually, but we meet with our sister agency somewhere in Valencia or Tajon area, because this year it's in Valencia, and just kind of exchange information about what our two agencies are doing. Just as a highlight for you, I'll give it to you here in a second. SCAG is the nation's largest council of governments, and we're the state's sixth largest, which makes us a dwarf compared to them in terms of size and money. But from time to time we share that border, and we have projects that kind of affect both of us, and so we try to get together. So if you are at all interested, please tell me tonight. If not, please contact me. Otherwise, I'll reach out to a couple of you. I'd like to take 3 board members, 2 or 3, if I can. Particularly if you have issues, if you're close to the border between us and LA County, and you have issues or concerns, or maybe your constituents are in and out of LA County on a regular basis, that might be a reason for you to join us. So, got that? Let me know, please. The next one I had for you, although I don't know that we can do it today, is the executive committee meeting, which, so the executive committee is made up of Phil Smith, Bob Smith, and David Couch. I needed to get the 3 of you guys together, so I was hoping to get you to get your calendars out tonight, but without David here, I'm not sure that I can do that. So what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you guys, that's my fault. I meant to reach out to Supervisor Couch and confirm that he was going to be here, is if it's okay with you guys, I have your mobile numbers for each of you. Maybe I'll put you all on a chain together, and we'll just set a date for us to get together. I have some staffing stuff that I'd like to sit down and talk to the 3 of you guys about. Just general stuff, no action items. Just want to get some feedback from the executive committee on that. So expect that from me maybe tomorrow. Okay? Board folder items are the next items for you. So if you grab your folder, we provide the timeline as we always do. Thank you, Becky, for putting that together. Please take a look. We have items coming up in the next 3 months for you to consider. A number of these are in your communities, so if you have any questions, please let us know. The next one for you is a spreadsheet. I think this is the amount of money we spent as a region in the last year, if I quickly summarize it. So first column, estimated OA for 2025. Kern is the 5th item down. So we delivered 24 million. That number's a little higher than that now. Southern California, you can go down there. They're about midway through the page if you want to get a sense of how small we are compared to how big they are.
Wow.
That's how much money they spent in 2025.
Wow.
Yeah, that startled me too when I saw it. So, I mean, there's not anyone else in California that's even close to them, which is amazing. But that number's actually a little bit higher. If you go all the way over to the second column from the right side, that is a percentage of our total amount that's allocated to us. So if we're over 100%, that means we delivered more money than we were allocated, which is good news. That's precisely our goal. We push you guys hard to do that. We have a pretty strong percentage. The number's actually higher than that. I was, as of September 31st, the number's now 160%, 0.1. We had one last City of Bakersfield project get delivered under that timeline. So September 31st being the end of the fiscal year, September 30th being the end of the fiscal year. There is no September. Is there a September 30th? No. Yeah. Sorry, I've had a day. Please forgive me. So 160% puts us second best in the state of California for by percentage delivery. San Diego is the only one that did better than us. So that's a lofty but reasonable goal for us in the coming years. So anyway, the moment here for you all is please point this out to your staff. They're the ones who are doing all the paperwork. They're programming the projects with us, and they're programming the extra projects with us that they have to do extra work to deliver. And so that's a kudos to them, and that's an important kudos to this staff who tracks all of that information and make sure that these projects stay on target and get delivered. They also hound the heck out of your people, at the TTAC in particular, to keep them moving, which I wholeheartedly support, and I know you guys do as well. So anyway, just wanted to share the good news. That's a big moment. Yet again, a good year of delivery for Kern County. So there's that. Last item for you is just an update on some community activities that are up and coming. We're still working on a few dates in October and for next year, but this is us continuing with the development of the RTP. We have to have desire to have a very robust outreach component. That's a major part of developing the RTP every 4 years. And so we've already had a couple of activities, or the first activity at Tehachapi Mountain Festival. I happened to go by that one on both days, and it was fantastic. Tons of feedback from Tehachapi. And we'll be at the fair, which is is the biggest event that we do in this process here starting yesterday. So if you go to the fair, please stop by the booth and say hello to the folks that are manning it. Our staff here works through the entire fair, doing extra shifts, even on nights and weekends, to man the booth and to try to get feedback. And it's actually a really neat, you guys should go by if no other reason than to see how we gather data. I was pretty impressed when I went by the Tehachapi Mountain Festival one, like how clever these guys are at getting meaningful feedback easily from people who really don't know much about transportation planning. But I'll leave the mystery to you. But these guys, kind of poll them on what's most important and give them basically a conceptual budget to spend on transportation, and then ask people to tell them what they think their most important goals are. And it's a great, quick, easy way for anyone to look at the options and go, well, I think that's most important, and I think that's second most important. And so it's pretty engaging, and folks seem to give plenty of responses. So anyway, take a look. All right, I think that concludes the items that I've got tonight. Did I forget anything? Sorry. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Any comments for the director?
I have one real quick. And at the fair, it doesn't hurt that y'all are right next to the cinnamon roll. Prime real estate right there. So you get the people that are standing in line for, I don't know, a half hour there at the end of the night to be able to fill out those surveys.
To drop them out. All right. Smart. You guys have been doing it how many years now? Do you know? 20 plus?
At least.
Yeah. They're pros. So.
Very good. You can count me in on the SCAG thing if you want
Okay.
to put that down.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you can.
Jay, you can also count me in.
So you got your 3 right here.
So California City and Arvin?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Very good. And then I have this certificate of appreciation to a Miss Raquel Pacheco, who everybody loves. And I was just saying how, when I was just finding out what Kern COG was, she was here back in 2005.
I remember when you came on board.
And she's always been very professional and good job, and appreciate it. And Executive Director, would you like to also say a few words?
Yeah, I would. Thank you. Raquel does not the lover of attention in this way. which the more base part of me likes to make fun of. But I will say, in a moment of seriousness, I have known Raquel now for a long time, long before my position here, and she is the consummate professional. She is always prepared, and she is always organized, and always has an answer. Not always the answer you want, admittedly, but she always has an answer and moves you forward. And so this organization would not be the same without her. And Kern County and things like these delivery numbers that you see here would not be the same without her here. So 25 years of service is a huge deal. And I thank you for how much you have helped me just in the few months here, but in all the years prior to that. So thank you for your service.
And with that, we're adjourned.
Doesn't she get to speak?